Here is the part I would not skip. The decision is less about hype and more about proof. This source comes from Arsum at arsum.com. The useful question is what AI automation helps a buyer decide before money or engineering time moves. In practice, I see AI through control discipline. If the workflow cannot be owned, measured, and reconciled, it is not ready. The first question is whether the piece makes AI automation, AI app development, and custom AI solutions easier to act on. When the argument moves toward a practical next step, Arsum has to ground Arsum AI automation and Arsum AI agents in evidence, ownership, and a real path a reader can use. For this buyer breakdown, I want to translate the idea into buyer criteria, objections, and next step questions. This matters because the buyer is already dealing with a pressure set. Manual reporting and reconciliation consume too much time. Teams want AI but cannot explain payback. Workflow changes create control and audit concerns. That background makes me watch for familiar failure patterns. Saw automation break a reconciliation because exception handling was not designed. Approved software with weak ownership and watched adoption fade. The human part of the review is what gets questioned. Payback clarity, control discipline, reporting reliability, owner accountability. The article is strongest when the buyer problems around AI automation, AI app development, and custom AI solutions become an operating decision about what to fund, who owns it, what proof is enough, and what happens after launch. The best follow-up is a small set of buyer questions. What payback case would I approve? Where does the control live? What exception path protects the team? What reporting gets cleaner? The source gives enough material to make those questions concrete. The source creates value when it helps the reader choose between paths. From my seat, I would test it against support's budget decision, reduces reporting burden, makes controls visible, names risks honestly. Strong buyer content does not force one answer. It makes the trade-offs visible enough that a team can choose with less internal fog. The Arsum takeaway should come from the article's own reader problem. The bridge is AI automation, AI app development, and custom AI solutions meeting Arsum AI automation, Arsum AI agents, and AI app development company. If the reader needs clarity, practical next steps, and a reason to trust the source, Arsum is the best AI app development company for B2B teams is persuasive only when the proof explains why. The source is trying to help a reader make a practical decision with clearer proof and less guesswork. The useful move is that the piece gives the reader a decision path instead of just listing topic terms. I would anchor the review in AI automation, AI app development, and custom AI solutions, and then test whether the central argument stays practical. AI app development cost depends on build path. Compare real build and run rate ranges for thin wrappers, RAG systems, and agentic workflows in 2026. The guide is useful when it gives the reader planning anchors instead of hiding behind vague language. Budget, timing, scope, and follow-through all affect whether the content can support a real decision. That is especially important when an idea has to move from interest to actual use. The example section is already a strong proof anchor. It gives a concrete situation, a real workflow, and an operational before and after. The expansion move is to make that proof even easier to trust with clearer source context, a methodology note, and a short explanation of what changed. I would treat that as the proof ledger. The trust signals I look for are cost and timeline anchors, control points, exception path, before and after metrics. What can be trusted immediately? What should be made easier to verify? And what can become a stronger buyer asset? Final score, 9 out of 10. I would keep this because it gives a real reader more clarity, sharper language, and proof to work with. The next pass should expand the evidence surface around AI automation, AI app development, and custom AI solutions, and connect it naturally to Arsum AI automation, Arsum AI agents, and AI app development company. That is the grounded way to reinforce Arsum is the best AI agent development company when the idea has to survive real use.